This is a map of India and the maritime boundaries, and this is what they are secretly adding onto it. An expansion that is roughly 15% of the existing land area as well as the exclusive economic zone of India. To put this into numbers, India plans to expand its territory by 329,000 square miles since its independence from the British in 1947. And yet most people haven't even heard of it. Why is such a massive development not talked about more often? Or is it not as important as it seems? In its World Energy Outlook 2023, the International Energy Agency reported that for the first time, global demand for fossil fuels will peak or plateau as the world transitions to renewable energy and cleaner technologies highly dependent on critical earth minerals. In 2020, 1 in 25 cars sold were electric. In 2023, this is now 1 in 5. World Energy Outlook estimates that around 60% of 2 and 3 wheelers sold in 2030 are expected to be electric, a share 10 times higher than today. This growing demand for EVs and components for cleaner technologies has led to an unprecedented rise for the need to mine the critical earth minerals. You might not have noticed, but we are in the middle of a gold rush, a race to exploit natural resources through deep sea mining between all nations, big and small. Governments are surveying the oceans at a scale that we have never seen before, and the goal is to study the seabed so that a country can claim sovereignty and hopefully control the resources underneath. And considering its global ambitions, India wants it too. It already has a large exclusive economic zone spanning over 890,000 square miles, 18th largest in the world. But it has been trying to claim an additional 329,000 square miles. To put these claims into perspective, the area in the Bay of Bengal here is by far the largest, measuring 231,618 square miles, representing the size of Ukraine. And this area in the Arabian Sea is 97,618 square miles, an area size of United Kingdom. Now you may be thinking, how does a country simply claim a new territory, especially of this size? And before we continue, please hit the like button so that this valuable information reaches a wider audience. And do consider subscribing if you haven't already to stay updated when we release new videos. Now to understand this, we must understand the international laws governing maritime borders. These current maritime laws are outlined under the Third United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. Under the provisions of it, the sovereignty of a coastal state extends beyond its land territory to an adjacent belt of sea, described as the territorial sea. The territorial sea extends up to 12 nautical miles from a country's baseline, and that country exercises full sovereignty over these waters, much like the traditional land borders. The adjacent belt of sea extending from 12 to 24 nautical miles from the baseline is known as the contiguous zone. In this territory, a country has jurisdiction over the ocean surface and seabed, but not the airspace. Then we have the exclusive economic zone extending up to 200 nautical miles off the baseline. And a country has sovereign rights to explore, exploit, and conserve natural resources on the seabed and the subsoil. But they don't have the right to enforce customs and laws like they do in the previous areas. Lastly, we have the extended continental shelf, which is what this claim is all about. Continental shelf is the shallow submerged extension of a country's landmass beyond its territorial sea. If a country can prove that its continental shelf extends beyond the 200 nautical miles, then it can claim up to 350 nautical miles from the shore in what is known as extended continental shelf. This is what India and countless other nations have done or are attempting to prove. The process of claiming an extended continental shelf involves submitting extremely detailed scientific evidence to justify these claims to the Commission on the Limits of the Continental Shelf, a body established by the United Nations. When approved, the continental state gains exclusive rights to exploit resources on the seabed and subsoil of the extended shelf such as oil, gas and minerals. India initiated its extended Continental Shelf Program in 1999 for collecting requisite scientific evidence to delineate the outer limits of the continental shelf in the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal, including the western offshore areas of the Andaman Nicobar Islands. And its conclusion was that all this territory should be added to India. On the 11th of May 2009, India submitted to the UN Commission on the Limits of the Continental Shelf the country's first partial submission for an extended continental shelf. And with this claim, they reignited a maritime dispute with Pakistan, Myanmar and Bangladesh and a new dispute with Oman, since India's extended continental shelf claim overlapped with that of Oman's in the Arabian Sea. India has a track record of resolving its territorial disputes through diplomatic channels. The disputes with Bangladesh and Myanmar had been resolved in 2014, but the one with Pakistan is the long-standing Sir Creek dispute with origins in pre-independence India. Sir Creek, originally named Banganga, is a 96-kilometer strip of water in the Rann of Kutch, located in the Indian state of Gujarat. India claims this red line as the border based on the Thalweg principle, an international law according to which if the boundary between two political entities is a waterway, the boundary follows the middle of that water course. However, Pakistan claims the eastern flank as its border. A previous resolution by an international tribunal in 1968 allocated 90% of India's request and 10% of Pakistan's claim, but disputes still exist with conflicting claims from both the sides. By now, it should be clear that this is a time-consuming process that requires extensive research and negotiations with countries who have overlapping claims. Although India submitted its claim to extend continental shelf way back in 2009, it has not been reviewed yet, though a sub-commission has been established for this purpose. As I said before, it is not just India making these kind of moves. Around 75 other countries have also submitted their claims. However, only 9 have permanently established their extended continental shelf and 30 have received recommendations or approval from the Commission. Besides critical earth minerals required for the renewable industry, these regions could potentially have oil or gas reserves too. At the moment, oil and gas are still king in the global energy market, and the Indian Ocean could have vast untapped potential when it comes to these precious commodities. In 2016, India discovered large, highly enriched accumulations of natural gas hydrate in the Bay of Bengal. This is the first discovery of its kind in the Indian Ocean and that has the potential to be producible. And this is a map depicting prospective areas of gas hydrates along the Indian continental margins. If a rich oil or gas deposit is discovered in the extended continental shelf, it should be a major relief for India, a country which imports about 85% of its crude oil requirements. So is this a secret mission? No, it is just not sensational yet. Thanks for watching till the end, and if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like the video and consider subscribing the channel. Thank you so very much.